This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I have my good friend, Brandon Gaunce on the line. We have at least a 5.5-year story, and we're going to talk about how he went from having his back up against the wall, getting given an unreasonable ultimatum at his job, which he declined, and went on his own, jumped in with both feet into the fire, so to speak, and 5.5 years later, we're going to tell you how it turns out. I'd like to thank my sponsors for this episode, taxfreefuture.com. Please go to taxfreefuture.com. Watch the 37 videos there. Just sign up to subscribe and you'll get them, because you will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you, and we're going to tell you why they're not telling you, and it's all going to make perfect sense, and it'll change your life, I promise. If you don't have a tax-free or tax-deferred investment vehicle in which to grow your retirement or your finances, you have no idea the size of the tool you are missing in your tool belt. So go to taxfreefuture.com. All right, paid the bills there, Brandon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Just a little chilly and rainy today, so be a better day to
do a podcast, right? Good time to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Bad time to paint a house.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, man, how did we meet? Because I mean, I'm gonna guess. I mean, first thing started was you heard about me or read about me or something. Was the first step. Where was that?
Yeah, the end of 2013, my company announced that they were eliminating my position, and I ended up going to a real estate seminar or big deal in Houston. And you happened to be a speaker there. I went and watched you speak, went to one of your little private events, and I think I ended up signing up for your mentoring program on my wife's birthday in March of 2014.
March 2014. So if I remember correctly, you worked for a national company, right? And
yes.
Whose name will remain unnamed, but you invented or came up with a system that basically eliminated you and other positions clear across the country and saved them millions of dollars. And then for doing such a great thing, they went ahead and let you go because you had eliminated your, that position. And so no good deed goes unpunished, does it, Brandon?
Absolutely not.
You think, how much were you making when you were there?
About $70,000.
You would think if a guy saved you millions and millions of dollars, at least multiple millions of dollars, that you could at least keep the one guy for $70,000 a year that made it happen.
Well,
and find something else to do.
Just to clarify, they did offer that position, the newly created position to me, but it would have required me to purchase a vehicle and commute about 3 hours round trip daily.
Well, that's kind of like, let's see if we can get this guy to walk away. I mean, let's don't fire him because it would look really bad. Let's give him a job opportunity that he turns down that's just impossible.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. No good deed goes unpunished. I'll say it again. So what's going through your head at that point?
I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what to do. I had heard a little bit about real estate, been intrigued by it, but had no experience doing it whatsoever. And I don't know why. My wife is usually fairly skeptical, but she was pretty supportive of me going out and trying to start doing something in real estate. And I think her confidence increased after I met you, and she watched some of your videos and talked to you and stuff like that.
Okay, so I don't normally take complete newbies one-on-one, you know what I mean? Because I'm usually, when I take someone one-on-one for that price tag, which is a decent amount of money in anybody's book. I mean, when you start talking about $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to get a coach for a 6 months or a year, I mean, that's a scary number for a lot of people, especially when you don't have a job and you are not sure what the future holds for you. And I was early in my career too. I was early in my teaching career, very early. I wasn't really sure if I was going to be a good teacher or not. And I remember talking to Brandon thinking, well, this is going to be a real shit show, because he doesn't have any experience. He's got his back against the wall. He's got to move quick. They did give you a severance package, though, right? You had like 8 months, right?
Yeah, they gave me a 6-month severance package.
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a very special deal with you on that day, didn't I?
Yes.
I wanted to know if I could get a person like Brandon through the gauntlet. And he seemed like, over the phone, he seemed like he was a hard-working person. He seemed like he was an honest person. He definitely had fire under his ass, because whether he liked it or not, there was fire, right?
Yes.
It was a big fire. And I was putting myself in his shoes, and I remember how scared I would have been, And anyways, I told Brandon I was going to jump out on a limb with him. I was going to do everything I could for him, and let's prove something to ourselves, And I was talking to me silently as well as to him. And he started working, and we started talking on a kind of a daily basis or every other day basis. I mean, sometimes we'd hand out some homework and it wouldn't get done for a couple of days, but we were talking whenever he would get lost or confused or get overwhelmed, and then we would just get back down to a steady pace and moving forward. What were the first days like?
They were pretty nerve-wracking and overwhelming, trying to learn everything and follow all the processes. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but I remember calling you one day all excited that I just left a homeowner's property, and they had verbally agreed to sell me the property. And you asked me if I had it under contract yet, and I explained I hadn't figured out how to fill out a contract. And you had to slow me down and say, back up, you got to learn step 1 first. And needless to say, they ended up backing out of that deal.
Yeah, those verbal contracts are not real strong. How much? So you're making $70,000 a year, but you had a very low overhead, which was a key, right?
Yeah, it wasn't very much. It wasn't very much. And that was the other stipulation, is because of the severance, my wife said, okay, see what you can do in 6 months. And after that, then you need to go look for a real job, which was okay. So.
Yeah. So your wife was working too, by the way, for the same company, right? But she had a steady job. She'd been there for how long?
Over 20 years.
Yeah. So, which is how you ended up with a job there, right? When you met her?
Yeah. Yeah. We met there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you got some income, but you're still bleeding out, right? So, slowly, and, got low overhead, which was key, which was one of the reasons why, was a huge factor in the reason why I chose to take you, was one of the factors, because, you can't take on a ship with a hole in it that's taking on so much water it's going to be sunk by tomorrow, So I knew you had some time. There was a point where you decided to get a part-time job, right?
Yeah, pretty much immediately. I found a part-time job that allowed me to do driving around doing some insurance claims. And
well, I was instrumental in helping you find that job, was I not, or not? Am I remembering this right?
I think I found that on Craigslist.
Because
it was related to my previous field.
Okay. And I thought that was cool because you were driving a lot in that job. And I said, just start every time you're close to a neighborhood, like take the long way, get there 30 minutes early and drive up and down the roads of the neighborhoods, and do some driving for dollars and stuff. Do you remember your first deal?
Yeah, the first deal, I don't remember when our contract did, but it closed September of 2014.
And do you remember what you made?
$9,700 and I think $82.
And you called and wanted to settle up at that time with a portion of what you owed. And I told you it's not time yet. Just keep get the gun away from your head, get everybody calmed down at the house, and and keep going. And, you know, I was very fortunate. I didn't, and I still am. I mean, I don't need any of this to survive. And so I was trying to make a point here. I was trying to get you all the way to the finish line and in style, and not, you know, take all or even half or even 25% of what you made on the first couple of deals, because I know you needed that comfort and that, you know, and that makes a lot of difference, doesn't it? When you put that first 9,000 in the bank. Talk to us about the confidence that you get after your first little deal. You know, $9,000 isn't going to change the world, but that's not the point, is it?
No, and the confidence at the house with my wife and all that was tremendous. And I think that just rocketed what was to come.
Yeah, so you have a special reason for wanting to be on the podcast today. It's been 5.5 years. Tell us what the news is.
So to summarize, from that first deal, the second year, I did 29 properties, I believe it was. I might be off on that number a little bit, but it was substantial.
Now, you didn't jump out of the chute like a rocket and make your first deal in 2 weeks, did you?
No. That first deal, it took a while to get it contracted, and then ultimately to close. So from March until September, the end of September, and then the second transaction closed, I believe, the week before Christmas, because I called you and told you I just got through doing training at Papa John's Pizza to take on a part-time job. And you asked me which was better use of my time, delivering pizzas or looking for another $10,000 property or potential property. So I didn't go back to Papa John's, closed on the second transaction within probably 5 days of that phone call. That one netted almost 30,000, and that's when we squared up financially. And then the second calendar year, my first full year, is when things just took off.
Hold on though. So when you did the $9,000 one, and then you did the $30,000 one. You know, that's taken almost all your time, right? Almost all your 6 months time.
Yeah, it took from March until the end of December, so almost 8-9 months to do 2 deals.
So I don't want to paint an unrealistic picture for people, right? I mean, you know, it takes a little while to get enough speed to get some wind under your wings, you know. And plus, you didn't know anything. You know, like you said, you didn't know how to write a contract even, or where do I get one? You know. Yeah. But do you remember that the day you settled up with me? And I remember, because I remember it very clearly. You said, "Look, I'm in my car. I'm already headed towards San Antonio. I don't have all the time it's going to take though to go all the way to you and turn around and go all the way back." He says, can you start driving towards me on I-10? And I said, "What's up?" And you said, "You know, I got a bag of cash for you." I said, "Yeah, how much?" And you named the number. I said, "Okay, I'm getting in the car." And but do you remember where we met?
Yeah, that was at I think the T&A truck stop right there, just near outside. I'm thinking it's near the Luling exit, near 183, about 5-10 miles past that.
Yeah, I remember it was kind of an emotional moment, wasn't it? I mean, I was happy for you, and you got kind of choked up. Then you made me get choked up, and here we are, two grown guys standing in a truck stop parking lot, all welled up, you know. So, but it was a big day. I thought it was a big day. I knew it was a big day for you. Your confidence level was through the roof. You were going to go on to do good things. That 30,000, even minus what you owed me, was plus the other stuff you put in the bank was a half a year's cushion. Again, you'd bought yourself another 6 months, you know what I mean, or 8 months, you know, because you had gotten pretty good at living pretty frugal at that point, which was really important.
The other thing that I think that second transaction confirmed to me was I had done a lot of legwork during that year, and it confirmed to me that this was repeatable, you know, what I had done in those first 2 deals. And because of the legwork and all the seeds that I had planted in that previous year, it made the second year go way faster than I could have ever imagined. And that's what ultimately, quote unquote, retired me, if you want to call it that, from corporate America. Because in your book, you talk about, having your moat and that you can control, what's inside your moat. And so I always looked at that as, okay, I need to increase my income, but I also need to control my expenditures or reduce them. And the faster I reduced them and the faster I grew them, when those points met, I was free, or that was my freedom number that I could control.
Now, the faster you reduce your debt and the faster you increase your residual income, or your income,
yes,
pretty soon, like, you didn't have to worry about your overhead anymore, because you did 29 deals in your second year. Do you know about how much you made in your second year? I mean,
I don't recall exactly, but that is the second year that my freedom number for Brandon, not counting my wife, but for Brandon happened.
So you got enough coming in to replace your JOB, which was $70,000 a year.
Exactly. And so what today's call is to thank you again and thank your wife and your family for everything you've done to change our lives. And but to let you know that it took an additional up until October of, last month, that my wife was fortunate enough to walk away from her job as well.
Wow. So you replaced two incomes in 5.5 years, more or less?
Yeah, $140,000 annually.
Not bad, my friend. I mean, we went to high school for 4 years. I don't know what
Only went for 2.5.
Only went for 2.5. You went to only 2.5 years of high school?
Maybe 3, yeah.
So you didn't, do you have your GED? Or?
Yeah, I have a GED, and after high school, I went and enrolled in some college classes, but no, I didn't graduate high school or go any further than math and English in college.
Yeah. Well, so how's your wife feeling about this new change, this new development?
She's actually pretty excited about it. We had kind of anticipated us trying to get her retired. One of the reasons why is we actually had 2 grandbabies this last year. So,
congratulations.
Thank you. So I thought it was important for her to be able to have more time to be able to focus on grandbabies and being a grandmother, especially since some of them are out of state, and being tied to a job, that kind of limits the amount of time you can travel and things of that nature. So she's, the last 6 weeks, has been doing that. And as of today, she's actually in Arizona on a camping trip with her son, daughter-in-law, and 3 grandkids over there.
Wow. So what approximate age are y'all? In your 40s?
Late 40s, early 50s.
Okay. So started working from the day you walked out of school, right?
Yep.
Or even while you're in school. I don't know. I really wanted to have this segment because it is possible. It does work out. Do you have any idea how many deals you've done in the entire 5.5 years?
Probably between 120 and 150.
Right. And you don't particularly specialize in big, humongous deals, do you?
No. On an average deal, I think I profit about $9,000.
Okay. But you went kind of rural. You got outside, you got away from the big inner city. And so some of the stuff that you deal in is not what people would think, pieces of land, lots, shabby mobile homes on a piece of dirt, whatever looks unwanted. Yeah. Is that safe to say? Whatever looks unwanted.
Yeah.
We had a guy force a abandoned 1950s gas station down our throat the other day in a small little town. We wanted to buy a little piece of dirt, and we agreed on a price of $20,000, and he made us take a gas station with the land. Like, what's the matter with this, man? Has it got environmental issues or whatever? And come to find out, we bought the lot and and the gas station for $20,000, and we sold the lot. We weren't looking to sell it for cash. We were looking to sell it with owner financing for like $25,000-$30,000. But someone came by and offered us $16,000 cash. We decided to take it because that only left us $4,000 in this downtown tiny town, 18,000 people town, 1950 gas station. And the only reason gas stations and things like that have a hard time selling is banks won't loan on them until they get all the old tanks, gas tanks, and all that environmental issue, brought up to the new standard.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just leave them alone, no one cares, and like no one's coming after you. And if you owner finance them, if you owner finance the property to your buyer, then everything's just cool. You just let the buyer know, which it's obvious. Hey, there was some gas tanks on here. You need to sign off that, they're still down there and they're probably rotten and leaking and all kinds of crap, but no one cares except for a bank if the bank's not going to loan on it. And so the buyer signed off. We sold the gas station for $55,000 with $15,000 down, 15-year note at 12%.
Awesome.
So, are you, and you've done a lot of stuff for cash, right?
Yeah, I would say 75% of the stuff I do is for cash. And that number that I told you on my average profit, those are the cash transactions. And this year, I haven't figured it out. I've probably increased that a couple of $1,000s per deal on average. But my owner finance stuff, which is about 20 to 25% of what I do, those typically are, double my investment or more, sometimes triple. Depending on how you buy the property. So
your particular motive was do a lot of stuff for cash, make your profit up front, and pay off everything. So how close are you to paying off everything?
All I have left is my house, and the rehab that I'm doing right now will probably pay it off. And once that's paid off, I think other than food and gas, my total bill expenditure will be about $1,500 a month.
Wow. And then you've replaced $140,000 in income, and you're still out there making deals every day. So the train starts to pick up speed, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm really thinking next year is going to do. And that's why I've been so focused on getting that stuff paid off, because my thought process, and we've had discussions on the right way or wrong way to do this, but my thought process was, if all I have to do is pay for cell phones and insurance and groceries and gas, then my $8,000 and $9,000 a month of owner finance notes are only going to just start to grow tremendously. And that's going to allow me to start doing longer owner finance notes. Because right now, most of my stuff is 3 to 5 years. I've got a couple of 10 and 15s trickled in, but that's next year's goal, is to get some bigger $80,000 to $100,000, $120,000 notes.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own way and their own thresholds, their own talents and their own market. And it's always different for someone. Like, people call me for one-on-one mentoring sometimes, go, well, tell me what the course is like. And I said, the course it's not a course. I'm a consultant. You pick up the phone and you call me when you bump into something, and let's talk about the deal you're looking at. Let's talk about the deal you're thinking you're going to make. Let's talk about the deal, unfortunately, sometimes that you already made without calling me. And let's figure out how to up the game. Let's figure out how to make the most out of it. Or let me tell you, you need to walk away if they don't go for a better offer than the one that's on the table right now. I think you need to walk away from this thing. Like, I don't tell anyone what to do. I'm just a friend in your corner that has 22 years of experience in 2,000 houses of getting my teeth kicked in. And so, what do you say to people that you're going to pay for it one way or the other, aren't you, Brandon? You're going to pay the street, or you're going to pay someone that's been there before. That's what I always say. What's your comment on that statement?
No, I've never actually considered hiring a coach or hiring a mentor or anything like that until you came along. But that's what today's call is about. Is it was worth every dime of it. And I would never hesitate to do it again.
Well, the thing is, though, you picked up the phone and you called often there in the beginning. I remember the first 2 or 3 months. I think you were my boyfriend or something, you know, like every day when I woke up and every night before I went to sleep, and
Yeah.
you know, which was cool. That was fine. You had a long way to go, and there was a lot of basics that you didn't even know. I was fortunate that relationship worked out the way it did too, because on the other side of it, Brandon, it gave me confidence to go. This was, 5 or 6 years ago when I was just thinking about hanging my hat out there as a coach. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be any good at it. And I certainly didn't want to take anyone's money if I didn't know that I was going to be able to help people. So it was kind of my grand experiment too. And I think we're both lucky to have found each other at that one time, and that it worked out the way that it did, because it gave me a lot of confidence too, to say, well, you can do this. You can do it from afar. You can do it from a phone and a computer. You can get people where they're going. The only thing I couldn't do was get your ass out of bed, which was never a problem because you didn't have that problem. You're like an early riser and a late stayer, which is honestly exactly what it was going to take to get through your predicament. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I remember the first year I was hand printing postcards at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning and mailing out 20 or 30 at a time because I could only afford that many stamps.
Yeah.
In fact, my first set of postcards were baby blue, and they came from cardstock that my grandmother found in her closet. And I printed them on my computer and tore the perforations and put, whatever stamp it was at the time. And I couldn't afford a roll, so I was budgeting myself, and I would mail out my top 25 prospects or something like that a week.
Wow. It takes you right back to being scared again. It's like, crap. It was tough, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now I feel bad sometimes, Mitch, if I know I have stuff to do and I'm laying in bed and I'm like, I really should get up and go do that. And I'm like, no, I'll just wait the morning. And I remember back going, you wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. You would have been up doing it.
Yeah, that fear is a great motivator, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, got to have some of that. Well, man, I appreciate you being on. It's going to be maybe in the next year or two, because I don't think we're going to have to wait 5 years for any more great progress. I think there'll be tremendous progress in the next 18 months, 24 months, because you're at this place now where the momentum starts to accelerate through the curve. You know what I mean? And it just straightens right out. So it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes to. Your wife's not working in the business with you, is she?
No, she is not. She kind of wants to, but I think it's better if we keep it separated. But she'll find something to do. I want her to decompress from corporate for a while. I recognize that I did that, and I don't think she does completely. So it'll take her a while to decompress before she figures out what she wants to do.
Yeah. And really think a lot about having the family in the business or not, because one of the things is you're probably going to want to travel a lot. And if both of y'all are in the business and you both leave to go to wherever, you know what I mean? So just think about, I found myself kind of trapped by that because I had all my family in my business. And it's like, we can never go anywhere together unless we shut the entire business down and it stops, and which we did. But it was, it'd be a little bit different if I had hired some other people,
Yeah.
The other thing is it's really hard to fire family, even if they're not doing their job or they're not doing it the way you want. And that's a big problem. It's not a problem for me anymore, but there was a time, when that caused a lot of issues. All right, my friend, I want to congratulate you on your success and tell Jody when she gets back from her camping trip, congratulations. And is she freaked out in the morning when she wakes up now? It's only been a day or two, right?
No, she, I think she's enjoying sleeping in a little bit more and definitely missing traffic.
Yeah, but is it? I mean, were y'all planning this so long that it's not really any big revelation, or is it still a little bit of a shock to her?
No, we were actually planning this for a while, and our target was on her around her birthday of March of next year. But there was a lot of changes going on the last 6 months at work, and she was coming home very stressed out, and I was honestly afraid she was gonna have a stroke or a breakdown or something. And it took me a month to convince her it'd be okay before she finally put her notice in. And when she did, she stayed an additional month. So, because she was still scared, but she's relieved that she's done it. And I think right now she's just kind of lost. So,
Well, you got to reacclimate because it's a whole different world now.
yeah.
But congratulations, you guys! Thanks for taking the time to be on. It's been a great relationship for me, Brandon. You're one of my good friends. I tell everybody, all the people that get on my call, they become my friends. I mean, and it's true. Usually, by the time we get through this gauntlet, we know a lot about each other, and we spend a lot of time on the phone talking. But everybody's different. Every single person's different. So there's no curriculum. For me, Brandon, there was no curriculum. He's different than the next guy I'm talking to, than the next person we're talking to. So I just had to deal with, and his circumstances were completely different. He had no job, but low overhead, lots of drive, didn't know a lot. So, I mean, I just had to take the phone calls and then figure out how to take our current situation and help turn it into some money. We just did it together and talked about it. It's a great comfort to be able to call someone. I know this because I have people that I defer to on different things. It's a great comfort to have someone to call and just say, I'm stuck in this place, or I'm going to make this decision. I think this is the right decision, but how do you see it? Then you get a second point of view from someone who's like more specialized in that department than I am. And it's a great comfort. And it's a lot different than going through life, making decisions, with all the common sense and all the smarts that you have, and then still having to wonder, I wonder if that's right or not. I wonder if that's right or not. Sometimes a confirmation just gives you the confidence to not worry about it and go out and do it, because, not only I feel that way, but another guy who should really know feels that way. So I'm going to quit worrying about it and just go do it. All right. And one thing I'm sure you were surprised in the beginning was there's a lot of money in crap out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. There's a lot of money in the crap nobody wants. I mean, nobody wants it. All right, Brandon.
All right, thanks, Mitch. I promise I'll get out there and see you as soon as I can.
Anything you want to say to the people that are maybe in the boat you were in 5 years ago?
Get a good teacher and a good mentor and provide all the coal for the train. Don't stop feeding the train.
You got to feed the train. All right, this is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I want to thank Tax Free Future for sponsoring this episode. Please go to taxfreefuture.com and watch the 37 videos there. You just sign up to subscribe and you'll get them. And you'll find out your financial advisors are not telling you certain things for a reason, and we're going to tell you what they're not telling you, and we're going to tell you why, and then you're going to find out why having this tax-free or tax-deferred investment vehicle is so important to your financial future and your retirement. All right, we're out of here. Bye, Brandon.
Bye, man. Have a good day.